Hari Om everyone. Welcome to this class on Purusha Sukta. So we'll start with the chanting. I'll just share on screen. I'll chat here. You can chat at your end. Okay. Start with the Shanti part. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Quickly chant the starting of the Sukta. Om Sahasrashirša Purushah Sah Saksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vritva Atyatishta Dashangulam Purusha evedagam sarvam yadbhutam yaccha bhavyam utamritatvasyešanah yadannena tirohati etavanasya mahima ato jaya gascha purushah padosya vishva bhutani tripadasya divi tripadudva udhayat purushah पादो सेहा भवात् पुनः ततो विश्वंगक्रामत शासनानशने अभि तस्माद् विराड जायत विराजो अधिपूरुषः स जातो अत्यरिच्यत पश्चात् भूमिमथो पुरः यत्पुरुषेण हविषा देवा यज्ञमतन्वत वसंतो अस्या सिद्ध्याजम ग्रीष्म इद्म शरदहविः सप्तास्यासन परिधयः त्रिसप्तः समिधः कृताः देवा यज्ञं तन्वानाः अबध्नन् पुरुषं पशुं तं यज्ञं बर्हिषि प्रोक्षन् पुरुषं जातमग्रतः. Okay, so we are starting this class on Purusha Sukta. We are looking at the second and third part mainly. We have covered the whole text, just leaving out the last one because the last one is about the final goal, liberation. So since we decided we'll go a bit more into depth into this, the rest of the I would rather say more into detail so that we can understand these. So we are looking at basically the manifestation of the universe by this Virat Purushaha, Virajo Adipurushaha towards the end of the second section. Sajato Atyarichyata. So this Virat Purushaha, who has manifested the whole universe and then entered into it himself as the resident consciousness within. The resident consciousness is the Purushaha and Virat is the body, the Brahmand, the whole universe. Of which that Virat Purushaha is the holder, the controller, the one who manages the whole visible universe. So this universe is consciousness based, controlled by this consciousness, and then it expands, right? So expands through what we call the yajna, yat purushena havisha, through the yajna, through the process of surrender. All the elements of this universe are then one by one manifested, where this Purushaha takes up all the smaller entities that we see in the universe, right? So last class, we were looking at one of these aspects, which was about how in this section, the Brahmand Deha, this universal body is coming out, it's born, and then into that, this Purusha is entering. So how do we have to look at it? What should be our view of this universe or our understanding of Purusha, so that we can mold our character, behavior, and our general attitude towards this Virat Deha. Huh? So what we saw was, first thing we have to do is we have to look it as more less of idam rupaha, something outside me, something separate from me, something divided from me, and more of the ham rupaha, more in the form of what we say inner consciousness that is ours, that should become one with that outer. Because the more we internalize this whole universe, we see it as the projection of this consciousness, that one whole consciousness pervading the whole universe. A part of it may be not even part. The what When this whole infinite consciousness is functioning through my body also, then I do not need to separate myself from the Virat Purusha also. Who he and I are the same consciousness only. My consciousness is functioning through a smaller body, so therefore I appear limited. His consciousness is functioning through the whole universe, it appears larger. So that advitiyata, that oneness, and that akhandata, that non-difference, because Atma is without parts. We saw clearly earlier also by logic also that what is the nature of this consciousness? This consciousness does not have any properties, gunas, right? It does not have any properties. So anything that does not have properties, it cannot be separated into parts, right? Whatever can be separated into parts is something that is having a property by which we can place it into a shape, right? It can take a shape, but consciousness cannot take any shape because it does not have any guna. So because no guna or no property is there, my consciousness is infinite. It is one with the consciousness of this universe, right? And the more we get into, we understand the external infinitude and the internal infinitude. What is the external infinitude? What is the external infiniteness? That is the variety of names and forms which can be projected out of this Atma. Everything that you can imagine of has been projected in different times, in different spaces, in different universes by this Atma. And therefore, this universe that we see is only one part of that manifestation. And what should be the way of our looking at it? That all of this is a reflection. This is a reflection of that Purusha, right? So just like the reflection can come and go while the original always stays. So therefore, that Purusha, that infinite reality is always there. Therefore, if we want to experience that Purusha, if we want to touch it, we use the word sparsha, sparsh. यदि हमने उसका स्पर्श करना है तो कैसे करना है? When we see it as one with us, अभिन्नता, right? Because otherwise, how do we touch anything? We touch anything with our sparsh or any of our indriyas. We use our sense organs to touch something. So the consciousness is never touching something. It is the sense organ that is touching, and then from the sense organ the impulse is going to the mind. So the mind is touching the sense organ, and then the mind is getting the reflected consciousness. Mind is reflecting the original consciousness. So there what is created is the aham vritti, the thought that I am a limited being and separate from this universe. That aham vritti is the next part that is touching the mind. Right. So it is like a relay. So we saw, like when we do a puja together and we are doing a Shivalinga Abhishekam, then a thread is passed to all the people who are not able to do the Abhishekam. And by value of touching that thread, all are connected to that ritual. All are connected to that ritual. Same way, our consciousness is also connected through that ritual to everything in the universe, right? Everything is imposed or projected by this consciousness only, and it is the one that is supporting everything. It is the one that is letting everything be. So just like if we have the mind and its thoughts. So mind and its thoughts, they create a lot of bindings for us, vasanas, right? Those vasanas bind us. So for these vasanas to bind us, we have to clearly understand they exist in the mind. The mind holds those vasanas, but the Atma appears to have those vasanas, just like we can say, if we take some water and we boil it, and then some of it spills onto us when we are working. So we'll say, "Pani se mera haath jal gaya." The water burnt my hand, right? So their water has not burned your hand. It is the fire that was inherent in the water when we applied heat to the water, which burnt your hand, right? Same way, mind is holding all our vasanas. So consciousness is not doing anything. It is merely by being there, it is causing all these things to function, right? So the mind being of, you can say, the fire that is burning everything around us, the mind is able to express his vasanas, but the power for that is given by this consciousness only, right? So this, sorry, the mind you can compare to the water. The water cannot do anything on its own, but it is the fire that will give the power. So with the fire, that power is being given. So this mind functions in close association with the consciousness. This consciousness, if I can understand it as my true nature, then I can keep on connecting to it internally and be able to do everything as if I am in control. Otherwise, what will happen? The objects will control me. Otherwise, the mind and the sense organs, they will control me. But if I see myself as Hamtaya in the form of consciousness, then I will not be bound by the activities of this mind, by the desires of this mind, rather we can say, right? So the more we spread this, what we call this aham vritti, and leave out this idam vritti, what we are experiencing is uh, non-division, akhandata. So that takes us to an infiniteness. That infiniteness, we call it ananda. That is joy. The joy of nothing limiting me. Because everything that gives me sadness or play pain is something that limits me. Right? Someone limits me from doing something, it gives me pain. I do not get to enjoy my favorite go food, or I don't get to enjoy my favorite activity. That is limiting me. So any limitation is loss of ananda. So this this akhandata that we experience, what is the visible experience for all of us that we saw? It is in the deep sleep state. In deep sleep, we experience this unbroken state, where that is why we experience what we call the ananda of ajnana, right? So their objects are not being experienced. None of the objects is being experienced. What is being experienced is the uh, non-absence of any object. So that is called ajnana. So that ajnana vritti, or that we call the experience of nothingness, is called the experience of sleep, right? Experience of no objects. So that we call abhavakar vritti. Still, it is a thought, right? Every object generates a thought within us. When we see that object, this is a table, this is a book, and so on. Same way, in deep sleep, we are experiencing abhavakar vritti. How do we know that? When we wake up, then we say that I experienced nothing, which means I was there. I was experiencing something, but nothing, no object was being experienced. So it is called objectless experience, right? So in this way, in deep sleep, we don't get feel any limitations that we experience when we are in the waking state. All limitations are removed. That is why we all want to go to sleep. No, we even the best to best AC room. If we are deep sleep, it will not affect us if the AC is gone off. Of course, if you are habituated, it's a different thing. But still, in any case, the kind of bed, the kind of position, if a person is really tired, he will immediately go to sleep. So we all, for us, the first priority is to go to sleep when we are tired. Nothing else will then uh, attract us, and nothing can take its place. Someone will not say, "Okay, I'll take you for a good dinner, so today you don't sleep." You will not prefer that. नहीं भैया मुझे सोने दो मेरी नींद प्यारी है मुझे. You will say that, right? So therefore, this is sleep. Now we go one step higher. What is the one step higher? Nirvikalpa samadhi. Where what we are doing is, I am removing that limitation also. I am removing the limitation of experiencing ajnanam, and I'm owning up to my true nature, that I am the witness, and then I enjoy myself as the witness of everything. And there in samadhi, anything that is experienced is also for me a way to see myself, way to experience myself. How? Because in every experience, there is the object and there is the observer. So I understand myself as the observer. मैं दृष्टा हूं. I am the seer. I am experiencing. So I am therefore able to experience myself. Usually what is an experience? Some object outside of me. कुछ वस्तु मेरे बाहर है, उसको हम एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं. बट इन samadhi, I experience my own nature without making it an object. Very, very careful we have to be. Very, very careful. Don't think of some, you go into meditation and some object or some light will come in front of you, and that is your experience of Atma, right? We use the word light. We use the word light for that experience. Why? Because the Atma is the illuminator of everything, right? Without Atma, without the soul, no illumination can happen. And that is what is the Virat Purusha is. That is what the Virat Purusha is. He is the consciousness pervading through all the universe, so that every being, every entity, every deva, manushya, animal, all of them, the pashu, all of them are running on its power. In fact, we say that every atom is held together by that consciousness. If I remove that consciousness, the atoms will also collapse. Nothing will remain. There is something inside that is making the electrons move, that is making holding all that matter together. In science also, in quantum, we study that if I remove the observer, the object also collapses, right? It is when I observe, then I'm able to pinpoint the location of that electron. Without the observer, the location cannot be pinpointed. So that is the observer is the source of this whole reality, that we go one step further in Vedanta, right? So in this way, through this Ekya Anusandhan, through this knowledge of myself as one infinite entity, we are able to say yes. The more I own up to, the more I reach that highest state of Ananda, where I will never be able to be limited, or I will never get back into this cycle of births and deaths. Or why? What is the cycle of birth and death? My desires. My desires are forever bringing me in and out of here, right? So now we saw earlier that what about Purusha? His desires are, he has no desire of his own, right? He only gives. That is why he has the capacity to give, which we saw in the story of Raja Raghu. So where Raja Raghu, he gives this whole, he gives the whole mountain of gold coins to the student who wants to give it to his guru. Why? Because he has this power, the feeling of wanting to give the maximum to his dependents, right? So that is there. So now, to understand this a little bit further, we will go into one story or one narration from the Chandogya Upanishad. So Chandogya Upanishad. So in Chandogya Upanishad, we have this knowledge or vidya that is called Upakosal Vidya. So Upakosal Vidya is about understanding this nature of ours as consciousness, and its application to our lives, right? So it's a bit long, the story, but I will take it in the full set, because otherwise you'll not be able to grasp this aspect. So Upakosal is a student. He is a brahmachari. And his full name is Upakosal Kamalayan. And he was studying under this teacher Satyakam Jabali. Satyakam Jabali is also a very famous character in the Vedic literature. He comes in an earlier story, which is very, very relevant for today's times, where Satyakam used to be born from a woman who was of not such a good character, and yet he wanted to study the Brahmanic literature. He wanted to become a Brahman. But when he went up to his teacher, he tested him the teacher allowed him to study, seeing his mental condition, right? So he was allowed to study that under the teacher. So this very Satyakam Jabal. He was a son of Jabali. He became a rishi later on. He became a guru later on, and he was teaching this student, a lot of students, not one. So there he was teaching them. One of them was Upakosal. So now this Upakosal was one student who, even after completing his studies, this Satyakam, he did not let him go. He kept him on. He said, no, you still have to learn more. You still have something more to learn. In fact, he didn't even teach him much. So he said that the now Upakosal was saying that I have lived from so many years, or so many students have come even after me, and they have finished their studies and left. Is my Guruji angry at me, or does he not like me that I have to keep studying still? Nothing is being completed for me. So therefore, uh, he asked his teacher many times that, please complete my education. I want to learn. So now the teacher said, wait, I will do everything from you right from now up till your marriage also. Everything I will do for you, but give me time. I am observing you. I'm observing you. So therefore, you have to wait for me. Right? So, therefore, Satyakam, he did not make him a Snatak or someone who has completed his education. So, his wife, she really liked this child. She really liked this kid who was very, very sincere, who would do all the works of the house. And she saw this child, and she saw that he was getting a bit irritated, right? And so he said, once he was talking to the Guru Patni was like a mother, so the Guru Ma. So he was talking to Guru Ma, and he said that so many people have come after me. Why don't you help? You say something to Guruji. So I've been serving the cows for a long, long time. So she went up and she approached Satyakam, and he said, yes, please do something for this kid. So Satyakam said, no, no, I agree with you. It's a very good boy. I like him also. But the thing is, I am observing him. Give me some time. I have to go outside for some time. And therefore, when I come back, I will address this issue of yours. Right. So he went away, and it was a very long trip. He took a long time. And so the Guru Patni or the Guru Ma, she asked him to continue reading his studies, continue reading what he has studied so far. Hmm. And what happened was, this trip of his took a few years, not just days or months, few years. And therefore he was thinking, what do I do? What do I do? And he was one day sitting deep in meditation, hoping for something, some miracle to happen. And he was sitting near the fire. So he was sitting near the fire. He had also served the fires a lot. He would daily tend the fires. So while he was meditating, one of the fires took a form of a devta, and it came in front of him. So the fire said, why are you so sad? Come, I will teach you the Vidya. I will teach you knowledge. So that fire taught him this Virat Purusha knowledge that we are talking about. And this is the Gaharpatya Agni. So Gaharpatya Agni is what? The Agni that burns in the fireplace where we do cooking, right? So that Gaharpatya Agni, I will not go into the full details because this is the very, very detailed chapter, but still, so what it that Gaharpatya taught him first was going stage by stage, saying Prithvi, Agni, Anna, and then Aditya. All of them are forms of that same Brahman, right? How? Because they have all come from that Brahman only, right? And then the second Agni came up. There were three Agnis. That is Anvahari Agni. We know about the three Agnis. We have seen that in Kathopanishad, right? So the three Nachiketa Agni. So these very same three Agnis. So this Anvahari Agni said, it taught him about water, Jal, and then the directions, Disha, and then Nakshatra, and then Chandrama. So in this way, this Avani Agni, or it taught him that all these four are to be worshipped as Prana, Akashah, Ju, and Vidyutat. What is the importance of this? Through this story, through this teaching, the Agnis communicated to him that you have to see the whole Brahmand and all its powers in two ways. In two ways, right? So if I'm looking at Jala and Vidyut, then the water and electricity are connected together. So there is one thing that is a material and the other is the energy flowing through it. So in this way, these pairs of material and energy run this whole universe. These pairs of material and energy run this whole universe, which we are seeing in this Purusha Sukta also. And therefore, all of these are, uh, even though appearing separate, even though they are appearing separate, they are Brahma Roop only. They are forms of that same Brahman only, right? So then, when the teachers, when these Agnis had taught him all of this knowledge, by that time, his Guruji had come back from the Tirth Yatra. Right? So Satyakam had come back. And then this Upasana that we are talking about, it has a technical name for it. It is called Ahamgraha Upasana. Ahamgraha Upasana. So through this Ahamgraha Upasana, mm, he had learned this, so he was able to do what we call Virat Upasana. The He was able to invite the powers of Virat to his aid whenever needed. That is the power he gained. That is what we gain from Virat Upasana, right? There are so many devatas, so many forces in the universe. Uh, when I realize my oneness with them, when I merge my consciousness with them, when I surrender my consciousness to them, then whenever I need them, they are available to me. How are they available? Because they are one with me. And if I have something good to do, something dharmic to do, something beneficial for the world to do, those powers will always come to my aid, right? So this way, now this when Upakosal had learned all this and the Guru came back, so Guruji was looking at his face. And by looking at his face, because those times the teachers were so perspicacious, they were able to observe a face and tell something had changed. And he said, what happened? I see some glow in your face. It looks like someone has given you the knowledge of Brahman. So Upakosha said, who else can give me any knowledge? You are my sole teacher. Only thing I've heard is from the three fires, the three Agnis, they have given me this and this knowledge. So the Guruji said, yes, that's very, very beautiful. So that means you have learned the main knowledge that you have come here to teach. And that was my test for you. That was my test for you. Whether your Shraddha holds firm. When your Shraddha in the Guru holds firm, then the Guru himself will send some powers to you for your learning, right? I have experienced this personally myself. In my journey, I have seen so many times that something I deeply wanted to know, and someone somewhere from out of the blue would come and want to sit with me, talk to me, and tell me that very thing I was looking for the answers for. So it happens when your desire is sincere enough. So he said now that what you have done, this is called Ahamgraha Upasana. But there is one more step that is left. So that I am going to tell you. That I am going to tell you how to go beyond this Ahamgraha Upasana. So through this Ahamgraha Upasana, you have seen uh, everything as emerging from that one Brahman. And you have imagined it within you. So now this knowledge that I'm going to teach you, it will tell you that this Virat Purusha is something that you can experience through contact with me by the Updesha that I give. First, you have to look in my eye. So he said, come and look into my eye. And then he said, what do you see in my eye? मेरी आँख में क्या दिखता है? So he said, I see myself in your eye. I see myself. Huh? I see that Purusha. So he said, that Purusha that you see, that is the Atma. So he said, how is that Atma? So he experienced, he told him that this power, this thing that you see in front of you is not just me, but is not just you, but me also. He said, how? So then the teacher disappeared. And then suddenly he could see himself standing in front of him. अपने आप को देख. And then he understood internally that this is the teaching of the Atma, that my Atma is the same as the Atma within everyone. My Atma is the same as the Atma within everyone. So then Upukoshal came back and he saw, did you see that? He said, yes. So now he said, now I will teach you what it meant. What was the meaning of what you saw? Uska arth kya hai? So therefore, in a series of stages, he taught him this what we call Akshi Upasana. So we'll see this Akshi Upasana. What is that? Whenever you look into your eye, whenever you look into your eye, there are four colors you can see. One is the white, which is the maximum part. Then there is a reddish color. Then there is the third, that is the grayish color, and then the black. Four colors, right? So he said, look, through these four colors, how you have to look at as the whole universe within you. So first is the Shweta Chakra, the white circle, the outer one. So this is what you see how clearly outside of you, pratyaksha, जो भी हमें बाहर जगह दिखता है. This white chakra represents the whole visible universe. So this has 16 powers. These are called Nitya Shodashi. These are the Nitya Shodashi. These 16 powers are all, each and them are equivalent to one vowel, one swara. So what are the 16 vowels? A, I, U, U, E, O, Ang, A. These are the 16 vowels. So he said these vowels are the powers on which all the objects of this universe ride, on which they are able to sustain. These vowels are the substratum. How? Whenever you need to pronounce a consonant, जिसको हम हिंदी में संस्कृत में अक्षर कहते हैं, what we call अक्षर in Sanskrit. So for that you need a vowel. Without vowel you cannot pronounce. So he says these are the 16 powers by which any object can be manifest. So these represent the whole universe of visible objects. So that is why these 16 vowels, we call them as adhishthana. They are the source, they are the basis out of which everything emerges. Because this Vyanjan or this consonant, it cannot be what we call Ucharit. It cannot be pronounced, right? So if you are saying Ka, then it has to be Ka plus A, right? So therefore, all of these swaras, they are called the Nitya Shodasha. They represent all the objects of the universe that are manifested. So these are manifested in basically four parts. So what are the four parts? He said anything that you observe, any kind of knowledge that is happening, it contains four aspects. We call that Praman, Prameya, Pramiti or the Gyan, the knowledge, and the Pramata, the knower. Right? These four, right? So now he says Praman, Prameya, Pramata, and Pramiti. These are the four aspects of any kind of knowledge, right? So each of these four, then they are again divided into four more parts. So that makes it 16. So we can take the object first. Bahar jo vastu hai. Prameya. So if we are observing that object outside, let us say a pot. So that pot is the Prameya. Then what is the instrument that is observing? Eye. Through the eye we observe. So eye is the Pramanam. So eye is the Pramanam. Right? And then from that, I hope this is clear. I hope I'm not getting a bit too complicated. Is it understandable? Is everything grasping everything? I hope it's not too complicated, or I will simplify more. Is it okay so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, so then these are the four parts of any experience. कुछ भी हम experience करते हैं, whatever we observe. So this ghada or this pot outside is the prameya. the Praman is the I. Then the Pramata or the knower is the self, the individual inside, the consciousness, right? And then the Pramiti is the knowledge that emerges once some object is observed. This is the pot. That is the knowledge. That is the Pramiti or the knowledge. So again, as I said, all of these have four parts. What are these four parts? Utpatti, Sthiti, Samhar, or Amvyakt. So Utpatti is appearance, being born, being manifested. Sthiti is remaining in that state. Then Samhara is going into dissolution. And Avyakt is unmanifest state of any object. हर वस्तु अव्यक्त अवस्था में रहती है जन्म लेने से पहले. So just like I was born, before I was born or my body appeared, this body was in the form of the five elements which were in the unmanifest state. So in this way, all of the objects of this world and all these Pramata, Praman, Prameya also and Pramiti, they have these four divisions, right? So just like there is some object outside, and you are describing it. You're telling me something about it, and you are telling, I am listening. तुम कह रहे हो, मैं सुन रहा हूँ. ठीक है. So now, at that time, my seeing power is avyakt. My seeing power is not working, right? Then my hearing power is only working. Okay. So now then I suddenly decide I want to see the object that you are describing. So I open my eyes. So that is Utpatti. So from Avyakt, I have come to Utpatti. And then through the open eye, I keep observing the objects around me. That is Sthiti. Sthiti ho gayi. And then when I again close it back, that is called Samhar. The object is remaining in my mind. Its picture is captured in my mind. But literally I have done Samhara. I have destroyed the object because the object is now no longer within my senses, right? So this is for the sense organ, right? So then look at this object outside of me. Now let's look at the object. So ghada, we were talking, that pot is standing there. So this pot is somewhere very, very far. Very, very far. I still cannot see it. So that is avyakt. Avyakt. So then I come nearer. That and suddenly I start seeing it. Then it is born. Then it is appeared. मेरे सामने आ गया. उत्पत्ति हो गई. So utpatti has happened. And then after that, I'm able to observe it all the time. That is its sthiti. And then finally, if I take a stick and break it and it goes back to the elements, that is samhar. So in this way, each of these four, they have these four stages of utpatti, sthiti, samhar. So that is how we have to understand the objects of the world in these 16 divisions. Every object has the state of avyakt, utpatti, sthiti, samhar, and every object in the same way I can apply it to my sense organs, my eyes, we saw with the eye. I can apply the same way to the observer also. The observer also. What is the four states of the observer? Deep sleep, waking state, the dream state, and then finally death. So all the four states the observer also goes through. Right? Gyan also same way. So all of these 16 states are represent the way we cognize the whole world. So इस 16 तरीके से हम जागृत अवस्था में रहते हैं. This is the way we stay in the जागृत अवस्था. So the first stage of my understanding of the world, is to see it in these 16 divisions by which all the objects of the world are being manifested. Now I have to take it internally. तो हम ग्रह उपासना कर रहे हैं ना. We are taking everything as coming out of me. Right? So next we go into the second part. Right? So now what is the next color? The next color we say is red, lal. So when we look at this, for here we will remove the object outside. Even if the object outside is gone, we can still retain the picture of it within our eye. So therefore, the praman is there. The pramay is gone. Sorry, pramay is gone. Praman is there. The pramiti is there. The knowledge is there. And the pramata is there. The knower is always there. Right? So there we remove four letters. So nowadays, four letters are used very less. Re, badi re. And so these four are not being used. So once we remove these, we are left with 12 letters. So this sadhana is called Dwadash Kali sadhana. So where we are looking at where we are merging the objects into ourselves. All the objects are only forms of or only shapes or in the form of thoughts that come into our mind. सारी ऑब्जेक्ट्स हमारे मन में एक विचार एक वृत्ति के रूप में आती है. सो आई कैन रिमूव द ऑब्जेक्ट एंड स्टिल रिटेन परसेप्शन ऑफ इट. So therefore I can merge all the objects outside into me. This is called Dwadash Kali Vidya, the 12 natured knowledge, right? So I have removed the prameya from here. And then we go for further inside. Further inside, we go into the gray part. We go inside, we go into the gray part. So this gray part is now the praman. The praman is the sense organs, right? The sense organs. And the pramata. The praman and pramata are what we call non-different from each other. Without the consciousness giving power to the sense organs, the sense organ will not work, right? So therefore, I take it inside. So therefore, I merge the praman, I merge the sense organ into my inner observer, into the observer who is watching all the things go around. So in this way, the pramata is absorbed into me, and therefore same way with this is called the Ashta Bandhavi Kala. This is what is mentioned in the Upanishad, Ashta Bandhavi Kala. So in this Ashta Bandhavi Kala, we remove four more letters. So they are called the Sanyuk Swaras. A, I, O, Au. How? Because they are made from joining and E, and A, and so on. So in this way, we are left with only 8 letters. They are not, the remaining ones we call them Suddha Swara. So therefore now, finally these 8, then we merge them into the black part now, finally. So into the black part, we are merging merging this. So what is the black part representing? Dark, deep sleep, Nidra Avastha. So in Nidra, what happens? All the objects are gone. And yet what remains? The knower, the pramata remains, right? The one who has the knowledge. So the knowledge and the knower become one. The knowledge and the knower become one. Right? So in this way, now we have finally reached the stage where only 4 letters are remaining also in the letter section. So Ang, Aha, U and E. These are the only 4 that remain. So this is if we use the terms of Tantra or other terms, this is called Dikchari, Bhuchari, Khechari and Gochari. The 4 powers that reside within us, by which we are again able to manifest the universe when I wake up, right? So because when I go to sleep, this world does not disappear. It is merely in the unmanifest state. When I wake, again it will come back. Sara ka sara pitara phir se khul jayega, right? So through this, I can understand that everything I can merge back into myself. Myself meaning what? Very, very careful. Not the individual being, the ahankar, the small being. Myself meaning when I identify with the consciousness which is infinite, the universal consciousness. So everything I can merge into the universal consciousness. That means all the names and objects outside of me. So in this way, into that Virat, I can merge. So the first part is up till here. This is called the Brahmanda Deha Upasana. Brahmanda Deha Upasana. So in this Brahmanda Deha Upasana, we are able to merge the whole Brahman into our selves. And then finally, what happens is this consciousness, we say, does it need the world for it to exist? No. It exists independently of the world also, right? That is called the unity of everything into this one. This is called the dissolving of all duality. Dissolving of all duality. सारा द्वैत उसी में घुल जाएगा. So this consciousness is the sole entity. I am using the word consciousness, but we have to be very careful. What we mean is the ultimate reality, which is of the nature of Sat, Chit, Anand. Consciousness, existence, and bliss. Consciousness is the entity, is the property of it through which we know something. Existence is by which it is able to exist, and bliss is its nature of being infinite, or being of the nature of joy, right? So that is how I realize my nature as that of existence, consciousness, bliss, my nature as Sat Chit Anand Rupaha, and the whole universe of names and forms is a projection out of me. This is what this Ahamgra Upasana or this Akshi Purusha Upasana is teaching us. So this is what we saw in this part, Tato Virat Ajayata. So this Parabrahm Paramatma is first giving rise to this Brahmand Deha. He's first giving rise to the whole universe, and then in the form of what we call a reflection, Bimb Pratibimb. This whole universe is a reflection of this Param Purusha, or this infinite reality, and therefore all the devas that we see, Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Surya, Indra, Agni, whatever names we give to them, they are all functions of this final entity, right? So when this final entity is becoming the creator, then we call him Brahmaji. When this final entity or this Brahman or Brahma is becoming the sustainer of the universe, we call him Vishnu. So same way, just like I am a father, I am also a son, I am a business owner, or I am a job doer, whatever be the different descriptions that I take, ultimately I am the very same person itself. I am the same person, right? So in spite of all the infinite names or roles that I take up, I remain the same, right? But only difference being, whenever I take a name, whenever I take up a name, then I restrict myself. I restrict myself to that duty that I'm doing, right? So through doing all of these duties, I have to be very, very aware that even though I take up some restriction, that restriction I take up on my own willingly. Huh. I take it up to fulfill some kind of duty, but that does not mean I am limited, right? So the limitation is always what we call relative limitation. There is always a relative limitation. Just like we say, no, this person is rich. We say someone is rich. So how rich? So a person who earns 1,000 rupees a month, he is poor. The one who earns 10,000 is richer. Then another who earns 1 lakh is richer than that. So there he is rich. But the one we were talking rich earlier is now actually poor. So everything in this is relative only. But ultimately, what is the source of all wealth? What is the source of all wealth? You can say the Reserve Bank, or you can say the state, the government. So the government is the infinite reality. So here also, I am that government. I am the consciousness which is supporting the activities of all of this universe, right? So this is called Virajo Adhipurusha. This Purusha has taken up the small roles, what we call the Upadhi. Upadhi is what? This body is my Upadhi, this mind is my Upadhi. I think of myself as the body, the body becomes my Upadhi. So through whatever center, जिस भी केंद्र से, whatever center my consciousness is functioning, I get the wrong notion, I get the wrong impression that I am that center. I am that body, that mind, that intellect, and so on. All the wrong impressions that I have. This is called Parichinna Upadhi, divided, divided names and forms that I take up. So in this way, this Purusha Param Purusha, he becomes all the beings of this universe. That is, he takes up their upadhi. And here we have to be very, very careful that this upadhi is what? The upadhi is also created by that Param Purusha, and the consciousness he enters as is also the same Purusha. So there is never at any moment any duality. हाँ, द्वैत कभी भी नहीं है. There is never any duality. The Purusha is the same, and the entity he is entering into, that is also the same only, right? So we can take the example of like there is a lamp. There is a lamp in which you have uh, switches which through which you can run at different powers. One, two, three, four. So you put plus switch number one, it will burn at a lesser power. Switch two, it will burn at higher power. Switch three, it will burn at more higher power. So we think that this switch is because of this switch the light of the bulb is different, but the light is the same electricity is going through the bulb, right? So the bulb has taken the upadhi of whatever power is being allowed to pass through it. Same way that infinite consciousness allows limited amount of its energy to pass through all of the beings, and that is why they all appear limited. You can apply this, you can use other example also. You can use, if you didn't understand from the bulb, you can use a fan. So in a fan also you have different numbers, no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So whatever number you put on that switch, whatever number you tune it to, that power will flow through. So that does not mean that the energy, the electricity is in any way restricted. Whatever amount we want to, this electricity will flow. So this is what we call the independence, the swatantraya of that Shakti. It is the capacity of that Shakti to manifest in any kind of power. It can be Sarva Shaktiman, the Shakti that is working through the whole universe, or it can be Alpa Shaktiman, that is the energy that is functioning through let's us say the human beings, right? And it can be even less through the other beings or even through the Jada Padarth, the other objects of the universe, or maybe something intermediate between us and Ishvara, that is the Devatas, right? So in the Devatas, the consciousness is even more wider than the humans, and so on in the intermediate or others also. So in this way, by its own power of Maya, this consciousness can enter all the beings of this world, and it can power them. It can make them function. So in this way, there are so many beings in this universe. Each has their own set of restrictions and capabilities. Each has their own set of restrictions and capabilities by which they are able to function. And that power comes from what? That one singular universal consciousness only. That is the Virat. Virajo Adipurusha. So whatever the upadhis, they are all in its control. They are the controllers. So here we have to use a very careful word for it. The upadhi does not control that Purusha or that consciousness. The Purusha lets himself be controlled by the upadhi. The Purusha lets himself be controlled by the upadhi. So therefore, I am never limited. I should always remember. I am letting myself, I forget that my power is infinite. I am letting myself be controlled by this universe around me. We'll take a quick, short example for this. So let's say there is a rich man who is running a business. Sethji is there, sitting there, and then someone comes for a donation. So he comes for a donation, and then he tells you go to the Munimji, you go to the accountant, and he will give you the money. So he says the one who comes for this donation, he says we need at least 1,000 rupees. So the accountant says no, there is not enough money here today. I can give you maximum 200. So then the Sethji again, he goes to Sethji. Sethji says to the Munim, please help him out. No, see if you can give him 1,000. So the accountant will say, no, strictly not possible. So what is happening here? Already he has instructed that this is the amount of money that you can give. And therefore, The person who came to ask for 1,000, he lives with that 200. So Sethji is not limited, but he has chosen to appear limited. So when that person goes away, he'll say that accountant is very conjuice. He's such a miser. He doesn't give money and he has control over Sethji. So he doesn't allow him to give money. So therefore, but Sethji is a very generous man. He asked to give 1,000, but the accountant did not give. So this time we have to manage with this amount of donation. So in this way, this very same infinite consciousness also, even though it is unlimited in power, it chooses by its own will to display that lesser power. That is how this consciousness functions through all of these. Because we say, no, why this Ishvara is all powerful, then why not give that same power to all the beings? No. Whatever the upadhi we choose the upadhi, and because of the upadhi that we choose, we restrict our power, right? So the moment we give up this upadhi, the moment we give up this limitation, the moment we give up thinking of ourselves as the center through which we are working, we open ourselves to infinite freedom. And we, in fact, give up all upadhis. We give up all these limitations to merge with that supreme consciousness, to become one with that supreme consciousness, and take it up in the same, take it up as the my true nature. Understand it as my true nature and never get back into the cycle of births and deaths. Right. So today time is up. So we'll see in the next class more about how this division happens. So we saw this part how the infinite consciousness divides into different beings of the universe. So we'll see a couple of examples more of how this functions, and then we'll go into the part of how that one thing, the what we call Nad Bindu. From that Nad Bindu, from one dot, the whole universe emerges. How from that one dot the whole universe emerges, that is the subject of Nad Bindu. That we will see in the next class, where we'll see the portion about the Vikas, the development of the universe from that Virat Purusha. Right? So we'll wind up for today. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Tat Sat.